Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is just something I've wanted to try for a little while. I'm here with EposVox.
Hello, hello.
Hello. He's a tech YouTuber and just has been crushing it the past year or so. And we've known each other for a while. God, you know me from back in the LZ days, like LZ Next when I was launching that. I'm going to take on YouTube.
You were launching for years and years.
Yeah, I'm going to take on YouTube with our own video streaming platform, just like Rooster Teeth. Yeah, I was young and dumb. But yeah, to put that into perspective, that's like, what, 7, 8 years ago at this point? Like,
yeah,
09, 2010, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
so we've known each other for a while.
It's been way too long.
Yeah. You're just looking for an out, and I keep dragging you back. But no, I wanted to talk about stuff, just some random things, and a little bit more focused than the podcast, a little bit more edited than just a Let's Play, just something in between. And I figured if I'm going to start trying to do this, no one would be my first choice other than you do. Like, you're the person I want to talk to. So you want to just jump right into? I can't say that. That's somebody else's.
Get right
into the
topics.
news. We just smashed like 4 different news and/or drama YouTubers together for that. That was weird. There was some odd whatever. So first up, speaking of YouTube drama and/or news, this whole IGN thing that happened with the plagiarism, and then the dude got fired. You and I have we had very different reactions to it initially. And
Yep.
I'll admit my very first reaction was kind of like the very broad stroke of it. And I think I've clarified myself a little bit, but probably not as much. But I know, like, on your Discord, like, you post every little article on it or tweet on it.
It just
and
keeps
update.
happening.
It keeps happening, and it keeps getting worse. Quick, just TLDR for those of you who somehow haven't heard about this story. The main editor for the Nintendo editor was his official title, I think.
Yep.
For IGN, released a video review of Dead Cells, and it was an almost like high school level word changing from a video by a YouTuber known as Boomstick Gaming. And it's just almost word for word, like changed red to crimson or something like that. Beat for beat, almost a full exact copy. The YouTuber makes a video, handles it really well, I think. IGN investigates, dismisses him for plagiarism. He releases a non-apology. And since then, it's just every couple days, there's been story after story after story after more of this, and this is more of a systemic thing than just this one time. It wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. This was a practice and something that was done regularly. So I know how I feel about that. How do you feel about that? Like, what do you think? Or even is my TLDR super biased? Like, I want to know what you think about that.
No, I'm just amazed that someone could do it on that level, because I don't know if you've seen all of the things, but all the way to the degree that the information in his LinkedIn profile was plagiarized from a job template website. Like, at this point, people are questioning if Philip Mewson or whatever is actually his real name.
His real name? Your shit. I did not see that. I saw the Onion article that he plagiarized a "will work for food" sign off of a homeless man standing 6 feet to his left. I saw that. I did not see that.
Yeah, no, it's been like over a dozen reviews, and even his LinkedIn profile was somehow plagiarized. And it's just like, how do you take the time and energy to pursue a job in writing wherein you have literally no interest in actually writing?
That's like conspiracy theory level copying. Like, is the real Philip somewhere in a closet and he's just assumed his life or something? The NSA
set him up.
the answers are out there. The part that catches me is, how has it taken so long for this to come to light? This is stories and articles going back 2 or 3 years at this point.
Yeah, I don't want to give someone like positive credit, but clearly like this was a skilled attempt to not make it super obvious. I mean, it's hard to say that in the face of Boomstick's breakdown video showing like literally the Dead Cells review started out as, you know, it started out as a rewording, but by the time you got to the end, it was basically word for word just repeating what the original video said. So
yeah,
obviously that doesn't sound very skilled, but like from what I recall, every review was taken from a different place, and like there was just enough level of like scatteredness to it that it would be hard to find. And I mean, organizations like that have people whose jobs are to oversee that and to sort of fact check that. Although eventually, I mean, he's an editor, therefore, if the hierarchy works like it does in traditional journalism stuff, that would have been his job to check that for other people.
Yeah, and he edited that review as well. So
right.
There wasn't even somebody doing the video editing, and he was just doing copy editing. He was the only person who touched that one.
Right. So there was a little bit of oversight there where he worked his way up to having a little bit too much freedom. But
how?
I mean,
it's just how?
But think of it this way, like especially when Boomstick's video was purely a video, it wasn't an article. There was nothing they could search textually. Like if you think back to like school days, you had, at least, you know, in newer schools, by the time I was finishing school, like we had to submit papers to these online services that checked for plagiarism. They'd like scan all the text and stuff. Like you don't have that for YouTube videos. And so whoever's job it might be to oversee that can only, you know, logistically consume so many reviews of that subject to check for those kinds of things. And so
true,
there's always the potential for that like degree of oversight, but holy crap.
It baffles my mind that it went on for so long. But like you said, it's almost like in the movie where they get sloppy at the last moment, and then the cops are finally able to catch them. But then they realize that this guy has been stealing or killing or plagiarizing articles for 24 years, and he's secretly this. Like if he turned out to be the Zodiac killer, I would not have been surprised. At this,
he's
point.
The serial killer that got cocky and bored and dared the cops to catch him, and they did.
Exactly. And they did. And it just, that whole story and everything around it has been baffling to me and just impressive. Like, it's hard to say anything against that, but just impressive that somebody's able to keep a con going for so long. And I'm just wondering, is this going to cause people to be more vigilant of other reviewers and other creators, not just specifically IGN, but other sites in general, to avoid this sort of copying? And then what if you do actually get a case of concurrent thought where two people don't see each other's content and do sort of hit the same beats? Do you think we might start seeing false positives, or do you think we might start seeing more of this coming around?
I'm a little bit cynical, but I don't honestly foresee it having any lasting effect beyond contributing to the anti-IGN / mainstream games journalism.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. And I understand that to a degree, and I specifically, especially in the tweets where I was going on about IGN, I specifically play a little dumb in that regard. Like, I think it's silly to consume a singular news platform or news site's information on their own
for any topic,
for
not
any
just
topic,
gaming, for
and
anything,
day to day. Like someone who sits there and just reads this and then gets tired of the stuff they do. Like all the complaints about Polygon, I don't just sit there and scroll through Polygon, but 99% of the individual articles I have read, I usually don't have a big problem with. But I can tell before I go into the article whether or not I want to read it or not. That comes from a level of, you know, learning what you're going into reading in the first place. And the same
at
applies
some point in time, you do actually have to judge the book by its cover or the article by its headline and say, yes, I want to read this. No, I don't. But yeah.
And so I understand that IGN and other sites have some degree of history of hiring not so great people. But also keep in mind, the gaming scene is still, like, gaming press is still an enthusiast press. It is still, this dude got hired because he made YouTube reviews, and they are hiring people because they are, as one of the main Kotaku, like, main head honcho dudes was just kind of like, we hire people because they are enthusiastic about the topic, because they love it so much, which is why it was so baffling to them that this dude just like plagiarized so much, because the only people who in theory want to work there are crazy about games and writing about them.
It seemed he was crazy about the attention from writing about games,
yeah.
not so much the activity, I'm betting. But yeah,
but,
it's crazy. And yeah, I'm with you there, because there are so many people who do it independently,
right,
who are just, they never get the attention because they never rise to the level of IGN. So it's this confirmation bias in a sense.
Right. And so it will be another piece of the puzzle of people being anti those websites. But normal people, I don't think, have that much against plagiarism in independent content. And normal people won't find it out. There's only been ever one major instance of that actually happening from like an individual YouTuber that I've seen. And it was a rant about microphones and why the Blue Yeti sucks, and it was calling it a piece of garbage, a metal toy. It had this really catchy, like, rhymey wording to it all, and it was plagiarized, like, word for word. Like, the big selling point chunk of the video was plagiarized word for word from some other microphone reviewer.
Oh wow! I had not even heard about.
I can try to find it and link it to you when we're done talking, but. The whole chunk, the way he did, he remade his like animations for it, but he just copied the same concepts of the little animations of what the other guy had shown. Like it was just straight up copying. People found it out. Lots of negative comments, lots of dislikes. I think the dude even put like in the description, yeah, sorry, I took this from this guy. Here you go. But overall, like aside from the initial wave of people who saw it and ideally lost respect for and would stop watching that person, there's no further consequences. There's not even a copyright strike on that. Like, I don't even know if, honestly, I've studied copyright a lot, but I don't know that plagiarism is a copyright violation.
I was just thinking about that. Can you do that?
I've genuinely like studied this academically, and I don't know the answer to that. So
we need to get video game attorney on this now.
Like, there's no answer.
Someone
to that.
Tweet him.
There's no punishment. There's no response other than, hey, you're a dick. So
and YouTube's system isn't designed to support a creator. I hate to say going after, but it's true. Going after, albeit justifiably, going after another creator for something like that. There's no button you can click, no flag or thing you can submit. You just can't do that.
You can't even really say, hey, you stole my photo and put it in your thumbnail. Like, you can't even do that. You just have to put pressure on the YouTuber.
Court of public opinion. That's the only way to do it. Social media campaigns.
And so this guy has dug himself a grave and is ideally, in an ideal world, never going to work in games media again. But
he's still digging, dude. He's still digging.
But I don't foresee any other lasting impact, unfortunately. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's a big enough case.
You never know. This could be the spark that lights the match, that lights the fire, that burns the rebellion. I forget that part of the movie, but you're not supposed to talk about The Last Jedi. I don't remember. Was that from The Last Jedi? I think that was from The Last Jedi. Okay. Yeah. Sure. I'll check it. I'll check that later. This is the best part because this isn't live, so I can actually like fact check myself. So this is great. And I can cut it if I was wrong. So yay. I'll do ADR later. So talking about YouTube, right? And talking about
what's that?
What? Yeah, what's that? Is that like Vimeo?
I'm all about Google
I don't
Video,
know,
man.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember a time when Google Video was the video platform. The first video I ever made, I released on Google Video because YouTube wasn't around yet, and it was justifiably awful. I wonder if I can go find it because I don't have a copy. It's like 3 computers ago, not even 3. Yeah. This is 3 laptops ago. This is so bad. But you've been on YouTube for a while. When you started, like 2012, 2013, if I remember right?
That was
somewhere
when
around there?
I started my current channel. I first started uploading in 2006.
Oh, shit. So, yeah. But your current channel. So you started your current channel. The thing, you just dropped the mic on me so hard right there. Because even I didn't start uploading to YouTube till 07, 08. Like when I finally this whole video thing would be good, and I did that old Halo Machinima series, Project Orion. Oh God. But your current channel you started in 2012. It started as a gaming channel. You moved into tech like 3-4 years ago, you sort of refocused everything, and you've done this OBS masterclass, which is, in my opinion, the single source of truth to get somebody from couch. It's like the couch to 5K of streaming, or couch to marathon of streaming. I think it's like the thing you need to watch, and you've just been crushing it.
I need that quote printed on my wall.
I will get a testimonial, and I will make you a poster, and I will send it to you. That's you have a PO box, right?
Yeah.
Done. I'm making you a poster.
One sucks.
Yes. So, just what do you think about everything that's going on YouTube right now? From the people who are saying that streaming on YouTube is killing your video on demand performance, and not only just saying it, but showing stats to back it up, and then seeing YouTube's sort of response of saying, okay, fine, but you also can't go advertise your Twitch, and doing strikes and outreach and backlash against everything that's going on, like with Linus getting a strike, like just in general, your finger on the pulse, your thoughts about the platform, its health, where things are standing, where do you think things might be going? I'd love to know, like, what's on your mind.
I think YouTube is in a transition period, and my cat is approaching, so if you hear a bell, I am sorry.
Ding ding.
I think YouTube is in a transition period where they're trying to figure out what they're doing. Like, they're at a point where they realize they have to be serious about taking care of their creators and, you know, doing what we want, essentially. But they haven't 100% got it locked down. And I started saying back in 2016, when they started changing the partnership requirements, that within a couple years, we're going to have the best YouTube that we ever had. And I still kind of stick by that, despite the fact that everyone seems to think that it's going the opposite direction.
Okay.
To me, prime YouTube was 2009 to 2011, where you had to manually monetize every video unless you were in like one of the 3 networks available, and monetization was very limited. People did it, you know, there's the whole notion of doing it just for fun, but people had genuine interests in the way they made their content, in the way they advertised and held themselves, and in the way that content was delivered to you on the platform. And we didn't have to worry about low CPMs. We didn't have to worry about ads getting pulled entirely. We didn't have any of these issues. And it's not because the platform itself has changed in a negative way, like in terms of how they handle, actually, I guess that's not the right word. And just like, it's not like the overall platform has changed. It's purely, in my opinion, rooted in the idea that they open the floodgates for everyone to monetize and have access to all of the features. Now, it's really weird for me to say, given that I even posed, like I was so bought in on the idea that democratizing access to this kind of media was incredibly important, and I still kind of believe that, and I even wrote a paper in college about how important that was. But in terms of essentially providing a business back-end platform to a bunch of 12 to 17-year-olds was not the right move.
Did you hear that, everyone? Epos hates 12-year-olds.
Oh my God.
No.
Confirmed.
No, but yeah, confirmed. But I mean, how could you not? No. But no. Womp womp. No, but I'm kind of with you. Like, the barrier to entry to not only creating content on YouTube, but becoming monetized on YouTube, I agree, I think got far too low. And even the first barrier they put up, that you had to have 10,000 views, everybody was screaming, oh my God, you're killing my channel. And at the time, I went back and I looked at my analytics for the first 10,000 views, and I would have made like 22 cents.
Right.
But it took that amount of effort and determination and dedication to get up to it. And you can't upload videos that get 6 views. If you do that justifiably, it's going to take you a long time to get there. But if you get a hit or 2 and just grow really quickly, you should be rewarded for that, because you're driving traffic to YouTube, and that's how YouTube makes the money, so you can make the money. But yeah, I didn't mean for my question to seem like, oh, how do you think YouTube's dying? I legitimately felt like, where do you see YouTube is and some of their moves that they've been making? I kind of agree with you. YouTube's could be really great, me personally, I'm afraid I'm going to get left out of that greatness, and it's going to go back to a very even more isolated. Like I expect those partner requirements to increase yet again within maybe another 6 months to a year. And I think this time I might be on the wrong side of that line.
And that's possible.
Don't know. It entirely is.
I think it would be worth it. And you've already stuck with it. I mean, you've been doing YouTube yourself for a fairly long time. And I don't know how much you've talked about that, but I know, at least to a degree, that most of that time is spent completely unmonetized anyway. Like,
oh yeah.
So
I've not hidden the fact that I had another channel before this. I don't think I've been super specific about the name. I kind of have, but like I had an older channel that never crossed over like 800 subs, and we had a Minecraft server with it and all sorts of crazy stuff, and I was one of those guys. But no, like you said, I was completely unmonetized on YouTube for like 2.5, 3 years before switching to this channel and kind of doing a clean slate and a fresh start. And that was on your advice way back in the day, and it paid off. But yeah, I'd expect the next time the line moves, I'm going to be on the wrong side.
Right. But my implication was someone with your level of actual like genuine interest is not going to necessarily be swayed by it. You may spend less time on it if the initial financial return was making it worth the time you were putting in, but I don't imagine you necessarily just like packing up and saying, oh, I'm moving to Twitch, boys. Let's wrap it up. Facebook, you know, they're not actually offering me paychecks, but I'm done. I'm moving. Let's mixer for life.
It's funny you say that because of the whole live streaming thing, I did just move my streaming
though
over to Twitch.
And so, wrapping back to your original question, I have actually very rarely disagreed with the big changes YouTube has made over the past 3 years. I've disagreed with how they handle things communication-wise, basically on a daily basis. I disagree with some of the reactionary like responses they've had and how they publicize, how they handle some of the kind of back-end experiments that they're doing. But
we don't have video, but I am nodding so damn hard as you are saying this.
But the actual changes have all been good, and they've started, and I've tried hammering this home, and no one wants to listen, but they've started doing so many of these changes before anyone ever even heard of them. Like the whole advertiser-friendly stuff, they started cracking down on that in 2015, before PewDiePie got called a Nazi, before Logan Paul was relevant, before...
Oh God, better days.
Before any
better
of that,
days.
YouTube saw the whole quote-unquote adpocalypse coming 3 miles away. They knew that by opening the floodgates for monetization, they opened the floodgates for spam, malicious content, nonsense content, pirating-based content, you know, everything, and they need to clean it up. And they started putting in the tools to do that. They started restricting networks. They killed off sub-networks. They did so much on the back end before we ever saw this that they have been working to make things better on the back end, and now they're trying to save face for creators on the front end.
Yeah. Personally, I don't know about you. I still to this day hold the belief that the advertiser friendliness was not primarily in response to PewDiePie. I think the announcements of all that was primarily in response to ElsaGate and that whole thing. Like, if anything else, anybody who's going to go after advertisers and boycott and think of the children, that's going to be the people clutching their pearls and screaming at the companies working with YouTube. And I think that whole ElsaGate, that was, at least from a business point of view, could have been a lot. I'm surprised that never got the same level of attention and that didn't blow up to the same degree, because that could have been really damning for YouTube as much as that one clip from PewDiePie was, or the time everybody decided to call him a Nazi and was using videos on him were. Like, that could have been really bad, and the fact that that blew over as hard as it did still surprises me to today.
YouTube probably got really lucky in that regard.
It could have been a lot worse.
And that's the thing, is there's a lot of little individual anecdotal channels that maybe got screwed over in terms of their ad revenue from these changes. But generally speaking, most of the channels that were quote-unquote killed by the advertiser-friendly guidelines changes, or rather the enforcement of the guidelines that existed, those are the channels advertisers didn't want to be on. The Leafies, the Pyros, the people with just this, the Elsa Spider-Man stuff, like
The
advertisers.
Legundos.
Well,
I got hit with it a lot at the very beginning, and I
I did
figured out
too.
it's because I had the word kills because
Oh.
I in the description of Funny and Lucky Moments I had awesome multi kills,
right.
and that was it. And then I changed it, and they stopped getting demonetized.
Well, and
So
that
it
was another
just-
thing. It was, you know, the way they handle it, the same reaction happened when they introduced the Content ID tool. It's an automated tool that scans everything hard as heck at first and then uses the data it gets back from that to make it better. I haven't got hit with a demonetization thing in months, but for the first few months, it was like
Same.
every video. But
Same.
I wasn't panicking. I still had revenue coming in. I still had things set up properly. I had no reason to panic. But channels that rely on...
Because you've diversified.
Right.
You've done it right. You have your Patreon. You've pushed for sponsored content. You push for dedicated ad spots and sponsored videos. That's like ad revenue, if anything, should be a step to get to there.
Right.
Then your channel's successful is when you're on Patreon, when you have companies wanting to work with you, when you do those partnerships and brand deals and ad spots. That's your bread and butter. Ads are a bonus.
Like, think back to all the people who want to run, or in high school who wanted to run their own gaming news website or whatever. All the little teenagers that wanted to group their groups together, and that would become their full-time job. They'd be the next IGN, and then it was never sustainable. That was because they had no real business model. They just thought ad revenue would pay for it, and it doesn't work out that way. The same thing applies to YouTube and channels that are reliant on day one view ad revenue, which, you know, is the most susceptible to Content ID claims, demonetization, whatever. Day one only ad revenue and ad revenue in the first place. Like, you're going to go down at any moment anyway. Like, I have to imagine these people are just anxious messes in the first place. Like, they need to spend that time fixing it.
Yes. I mean, it's very much like you need to have a plan. Just and you not only in the videos that you're posting, like you need to have a plan with those, and I'm still working on that some days, but you need to have a plan of the business behind the scenes. And everybody says, don't treat YouTube like a business, just have fun with it and do what you want. But that doesn't work with the goal of, but I want to make it. It seems like all those people who have made it, quote unquote, they might be excellent entertainers, but at the same time, they either are or know someone who is good at the business side of things to keep everything running and keeping the lights on. Because without one, you need both, but you need both. You can't have just one.
Right.
Because you'll do really well for a while, and then things are going to get misallocated and you're going to burn up, or you'll just never get views in the first place if you only know the business side. So you just desperately need both.
I have been fighting against that piece of quote-unquote advice since before I even knew how to run a full-time YouTube channel myself, because I knew it was so absurd. The same people who sit there and say you need to quote-unquote do YouTube for fun, not for money, but then sit there and turn around and complain when things affect the money they make from YouTube. It's just the most hypocritical and nonsense, again, quote-unquote advice people can give. Like,
and it's not even a hyperbole. You're talking the exact same identical people.
Right.
Not even just like the same groups, the same human beings.
Right.
Will say both of those things.
And it doesn't work. You can do both. Have it for fun, because you should be having fun with it, and it should be something you're passionate about. And be smart business-minded, because that applies to anything in life. Like, you can't just go around having fun and not be business smart and make money in your life.
Gotta have a plan.
I'm going to play video games, and eventually someone will pay me for playing video games. Unfortunately, that's become more realistic in the 2010s, but it's still that dream of becoming like a game tester or something back in the day. It's just like, I'm just gonna get paid to sit here and play games for no reason.
But people don't even realize game testing is playing it like on heroic backwards, waiting 45 minutes after a cutscene on Mandarin with the inverted green thumb setting controls on to see if it bugs out. That's game testing. It's not. Yeah, that's game testing. Now this is game testing. Okay, you mentioned games, so this perfect last thing I wanted to talk about. Segue. So much is coming up. Game-wise, like everything is loaded into the end of the year like it is every year, because everybody wants that sweet holiday money.
No, everything's coming out February 22nd.
Okay, that answers my question. What games are you caring about? What are you excited about? What do you want to play?
I don't even know what games are coming. I just knew there were a lot announced for that one particular day.
I'm going to very quickly, games coming out.
Because I knew that was like all of E3 was just February. What?
A flood of games are due February 22nd. We have Anthem, Metro Exodus, Days Gone, Crackdown 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, Fallout. Oh, no, wait. Holiday season like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Fallout 76. I actually have to read the article? No, don't make me do that. But so it says February 22nd. There are 3 big titles set to release. It's Anthem, Days Gone, and Metro Exodus.
Okay. Ironically, games I really don't care about.
And also Crackdown 3, but that's already been delayed.
Oh.
So, not anymore. But what game coming out this year is looking like something that's like, I'm going to have to play this?
That's a good question.
Oh, God. This is good, like completely nothing? That's awful. That sounds so awful.
At this point, Black Ops 4.
Okay.
I enjoyed my time enough in the beta that as long as I have people to play with and have fun playing with them, it'll last me about 6 months like Black Ops 3 did.
Are you going to play on PC?
Yes. It was
I might be
great on PC, and I immediately turned it off in 2 games in on PS4.
Ooh,
and I have only ever played Call of Duty on console, like main. Like I've had most of the ones that I played on PC too, but like my main playing spot has always been PlayStation or sometimes Xbox 360. And I think I'm just going to only play PC on this one.
It's time for you to make the jump. Okay. Very cool. And you did a review of Black Ops 4, or like a first impression sort of thing on your gaming channel, and we'll have a card up in the corner for that to cross promotion, baby. Yeah. But no, I might be doing that. I missed out on the beta. I was out of town, but the Blackout beta is coming up soon.
Yes.
I want to do that. I want to play that some. So if it's on PC and we can play together, we should totally play some games together.
Yes.
All right. But so yeah, so cool. Black Ops 4 for you. Very cool. All right. So that's pretty much it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. I want to know. So where can people find you? Where can people find your stuff? Go check you out. See what you're doing.
Every website ever made / EposVox.
Are you going to be on that new Steam website? Did you already get your name there?
What's that?
Steam.tv.
Oh God, probably not. I may go reserve my name, but that's it.
Another conversation for another
Steam
video
and
for another
caffeine
day.
And mixer and back in my day we had
this is the part where we
TV.
This is the part where we fade out over the music. Thank you, Adam, for joining me. Go check out everything he does. It's awesome. Links are down in the description. Thank you.
Yeah.
Epic Voice himself. That is him. That is EposVox. Thank you. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.